If you're caring for an aging parent or a spouse or a loved one, or if caregiving is right around the corner, then you've probably already realized something. There is no roadmap for caregiving. And you're probably being asked to make some pretty big decisions around housing, around care, around family dynamics, around money, and you've not been taught how to have those conversations. Well, that's what this channel is for. This channel is called Eldercare Essentials. And each week we're going to be talking about something essential that you should know about caregiving. It may not be urgent, but it may be essential. And most families that I meet, they learn about these things when they're in the middle of the crisis or in the middle of the fire drill. And the purpose of this channel is to educate you earlier, to make sure that you're equipped with the right information, and to make things less overwhelming. Now, I didn't get into elder care because I wanted to make a career change. I was a family caregiver, and my wife and I, we went through all the same trials and tribulations that most family caregivers have to go through. We had to try to figure it out. Not always in a great way either. We made lots of mistakes along the way. We were caring for my father-in-law, Bob, a guy who I love with all my heart. And he was this vibrant guy. His voice would get raspy at the end of the day because he did so much talking. He was a sales guy. He was always dressed to the nines. Blue blazer, khaki pants, button-down shirt, penny loafers, looked great. Well, like many older adults, he had a medical event and he ended up in the hospital for a couple of weeks. And when he came back, he moved in with my wife and I. And he was just sitting on the couch in his sweats, looking out the window. This guy was a voracious reader, very, very active. And that's all he was doing. He was not happy. He was pretty depressed. And he certainly wasn't living his best life. My wife and I knew we had to do something. And we decided to move him into an independent living community. Probably not the best choice, but that's all that we knew about at that point in time. And when we moved him in there, he kind of sat around his apartment for the first week. But the beginning of the second week, he came out, had on some sweats, and he saw a big grand piano in the dining room. And he sat down and he began to play. And as he began to play, there were a couple of lady residents that sat down and listened to him. And afterwards, they were like, "Bob, you are a marvelous piano player." Well, a couple of days later, Bob came back out. And this time he had on a button-down shirt and some khaki pants. Still had on sneakers. But he did have on a nicer outfit. And his piano playing had a little bit more flourish to it. And those same lady residents, well, I guess they were part of the rumor mill because now there were about 5 or 6 people that were listening to Bob. And of course, they were all clapping at the end of his piano playing. At the end of the month, he was back in his blazer, back in his khakis, back in his penny loafers, and he was entertaining that independent living community with his music. He had gone from sitting on my couch in his sweats, looking out the window, to having a sense of purpose, to having renewed self-esteem, and to living once again with dignity. And it was because my wife and I made this decision, this care decision, to move him into a community because we recognized that he was not thriving in the environment that he was in. And that motivated us to begin to help other people with elder care. So now I'm a full-time elder care advisor. I own a company called Senior Care Authority in Atlanta, and I walk alongside families when they're trying to make these care decisions. Sometimes I'm touring them in senior living communities. Other times I'm serving as an advocate for them, helping them to set up an aging-in-place ecosystem. Other times I'm facilitating really, really difficult conversations. But through the entire process, I'm answering lots and lots of questions. And those questions are going to become the basis for this channel. Sometimes I get questions about aging in place. "Hey, Chris, my mom stresses that she doesn't want to move anywhere, doesn't want to move out of her home because she wants to be independent. But all she does is sits on the couch and watches TV. I'm over there 3 times a day, and she never sees anybody. It doesn't seem like she's living an independent lifestyle. Can you help me with that?" Other times I get questions about senior living. Hey, Chris, what's the difference between an assisted living and a nursing home? When should we begin thinking about senior living? And how do I know which of those senior living communities, in Atlanta we have 542 thereabouts, how do I know which one of those is going to be the best fit for my mom or my dad? I get lots of questions about money and budget as well. Hey, Chris, what does Medicare pay for? How do I get my mom on Medicaid? She's only got Social Security. What are all these things in this long-term care insurance policy? How do I work all these things out? And a lot of times I work with family dynamics, and this is a really important one. I get questions about the one family member that's taking care of mom, and she says, I seem to be the only one that's doing anything. All my siblings, they seem to be invisible. Is there some way that I can get them engaged? Or sometimes I get the whole family that comes and says, listen, Chris, we've got such a wonderful family. We spend all this time. We love each other. How do we go into elder care in a responsible way so that we don't fracture the bonds that we have as a family? And I help them navigate that as well. That's what we're going to be doing on this channel. Every couple of weeks, I'm going to be addressing one essential, and it'll either be me talking through the critical things about that essential, like home care or Medicare or elder law or senior living or aging in place at home. And other times I'm going to be bringing in partners, and we're both going to be speaking about these things. Those would be elder law attorneys, home care professionals, home health professionals, people like that. And we'll have a conversation about a critical essential. One of the things that you can do and make sure that you get these videos is to subscribe to this channel. That way, when these videos come out, you'll be sure to be made aware of them. I also want to hear your voice. So if you have a question, please go ahead and put your question in the comments. That way, I'll have the opportunity to address your questions while I'm doing a video on one of these essentials. And of course, like the video, that'll help the channel to grow as well. So thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you on the next installment of Eldercare Essentials.